Hi to whoever's watching this video. This time I want to talk about cubic functions, and in particular, how to factorize a cubic function in the easiest way possible. When we talk about factorizing a cubic, we're talking about basically finding what the x-intercepts are. So a cubic function is obviously a function that has x to the power of 3. So the highest power is a 3. Now, if we want to find the x-intercepts of this particular function, and it's written in this form, x cubed plus 4x squared plus x minus 6, we may be told what one of the factors is, or what the x-intercept is. So for example, we're told that x minus 1 is a factor. What this means is that if this is a factor, it means that it is an x-intercept. And in particular, if we were to substitute 1 into this particular cubic function, we should get an answer of 0. And we do. You can try it yourself. You can put 1 into there and you will get an answer of 0. Now, if we were to write it in a factorized way, such as this down here, we have to make sure that we write this as -1. Because as you know, that when it's written in the bracket form, the sign has to be different. This is a +1 here. So the real number is a +1, but when it's written in the factored form, we have to make that a -1. So anyway, in this case, we're told one of the factors, but we don't know what the other potential factors could be for this. Now, there's one really long way of doing it, and I'm not going to do it that way. The way that I do it is the really fast way, really easy way. And I'll show you through an example now here. I'll just scroll down a little bit. And the way that you can go about this is that this is the same question as above. X cubed plus 4x squared plus x minus 6. We want to divide this by x minus 1. That's going to give us the remainders. It's going to give us what the factors are. It's going to give us the x-intercepts. So this is the way that we do it. If we know that x minus 1 is the factor, then remember the actual number is +1 that we're going to put into the equation. We can write 1 here and lay it out in this, how do I say it? Lay it into a format in which we can easily factorize this cubic. So what we need to do is that there is secretly a 1 here, there is a 4 here, there is another 1 there, and there is, of course, a -6 there. So what we will do is write these numbers down. I already have them written down, 1, 4, 1, -6. Now what we do is that we take this first number and just drop it down to the bottom, like that, 1. And then what we do is we multiply these two numbers. So 1 times 1 is 1. That's where that 1 comes from. Then we go 4 plus, we add these ones together. 4 plus 1 gives me 5. And then again, I'm going to take it over here, multiply it together. 5 times 1 is 5. And then add them together. 1 plus 5 is 6. 6 times 1 is 6. And now what happens here is that when we add these together, -6 plus 6 gives me a final answer of 0. This means that when I divide this cubic function, this cubic polynomial, and I divide that by x minus 1, it gives me a leftover value of 0. And that confirms that this +1 is a factor, is an x-intercept of a cubic, of this cubic. So that's good. But the part that we really want to look at now are these these 3 numbers here, 1, 5, and 6. This is another quadratic equation which we can factorize to find the factors of that, which are the x-intercepts of that, and will also be the same x-intercepts for the cubic that we're looking at. So the way that I write this down is that this will be the x squared term, this will be the x term, and this will just be the number term. So I rewrite it over here like this. X squared plus 5x plus 6. That's fairly straightforward to factorize. Two numbers that multiply together to give 6 and add together to give 5. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 plus 3 is 5. Great. So we know that this and this are factors, and we were already told that that is a factor, which implies that the fully factorized form of the cubic that we were looking at is x minus 1, x plus 2, x plus 3. That's it. I also, very importantly, need to point out that this cubic starts with a cubic and then a squared, and then there's a power of 1 there, and so on. If you had, for example, x cubed, I'll just make it simple, x squared, sorry, let's say we're missing that term, x cubed, x, and then whatever, negative 6, we're clearly missing the x squared term. We can't ignore that. And if we were going to put it into this type of division, we would have to acknowledge, okay, that's the cubed term, like this. Then there should be an x squared term next because they go down, but there isn't. So I have to put a 0. Then there's the x term, and there's secretly a 1. There's a 1 there. And then there's a negative 6. So you just have to look at what other terms. Are they all in the cubic equation? Cubed, squared, power of 1, and so on. This is cubed, no squared, power of 1. So we have to write 0 to represent that. But we still perform the operations in exactly the same way. It's just that there will be a 0 involved at some point. Let's do this one. And again, if you think you can do this, pause it, try it, and then look at what I do. So x cubed plus 7x squared plus 7x minus 15. We're told that x plus 3 is a solution, okay? So that means the number that we put into the cubic is actually going to be minus 3. So that's what we want to represent here. So that's our special number, minus 3. So the numbers that we write down into our sort of table thing here is 1 plus 7. I won't write the plus, just write 7. 7, 7 and negative 15, like that. So the first step is we drop the 1 down, and then we go 1 times negative 3, which is negative 3. And then 7 plus negative 3 gives me 4. 4 times negative 3 is negative 12. And then 7 plus negative 12 is negative 5. Negative 5 times negative 3 is positive 15. And then negative 15 plus 15 is 0. So that confirms that negative 3 or x plus 3, if we write it in the brackets, that confirms that that is a factor. So then what we need to do is take our 3 numbers here and represent it in a quadratic equation. So this is 1. So I'm going to write 1x squared, but I don't really need to write the 1. It's already there. Plus 4x minus 5. What we then need to do is factorize this one because we want a fully factorized everything. Okay, So two numbers that multiply together to give -5 and add together to give 4. So we can write 5 and 1 are the numbers, but what about, one of these is negative, so we have to think if we have +5 and -1, does that work out? Yes, it does. So the fully factorized, we're nearly there, the fully factorized equation is all of these things, x plus 3 and all of that. So fully factorized comes out to be x plus 3, x plus 5, x minus 1. And if we want to talk about the x-intercepts for this, we can read the x-intercepts from this factorized form. So the x-intercepts will be -3, -5, and +1. One last example. This time, I've given you the cubic, but I haven't said what are the possible factors. I did say earlier that the number, we can find the factors by checking when is this equal to 0. Okay, so what value do I need to substitute into x so that I get a solution of 0? That is an x-intercept, isn't it? So when we do this, the easiest way is to look at the final number, because when you substitute the particular x value in here, if all of that equals to a 27, then you subtract 27 and then you get a 0. So we want to look at the factors of 27. And we can start with, 1 and 27, 2 and nothing. 3 is also a factor. Now, it can be a little bit time consuming trying to find it, but always start with the lowest numbers first. That's going to be more likely to start with the lowest numbers. So if you substitute 1 in here, for the sake of time, it doesn't equal 0. But if you substitute 3 in here, you do get a solution of 0. So I'm talking about 3 cubed plus 3, squared minus 9 times 3 minus 27. That actually does give you a solution of 0. You can check it yourself. So that's great. So that means that one of the factors, if I write it in a factorized form, will be x minus 3. That's one of the things that we've got here. So we need to carry on knowing that 3 is the value that we will be dividing by. So I'll draw my division section, and the numbers that we're going to put in there is a 1, 3, -9, -27. And of course, the special number is 3, not -3, +3. So drop the 1 down. 1 times 3 is 3. 3 plus 3 is 6. 6 times 3 is 18. And -9 plus 18 is 9. 9 times 3 is 27. -27 plus 27 is 0. So this 1, 6, and a 9 we'll write as our quadratic. So that gives us an x squared plus 6x plus 9. And this is what we want to factorize. So this is quite a nice one. Two numbers that multiply together to give 9 and add together to give 6. That's going to be +3 and +3 again. And this can be rewritten as x plus 3 squared. That is nicer to write it like that. So remember, the other factor that we had back up here was x minus 3 written in factorized form. So to fully factorize this, we can finally write it as x plus 3 squared x minus 3. And that's finished. And of course, then you know the x-intercepts too, because you can read it straight from this form. So there'll be an x-intercept of +3 and an x-intercept of -3 for this cubic. I hope that's been helpful. That's the end of the video. So thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.